I'm Rantasmo, and gay needs more May. Wait. Released in 2002, May can best be described as an indie horror take on Frankenstein with a female twist. Our title character, May, played by Angela Bettis, is a lonely, eccentric veterinarian's assistant whose only friend is Susie, a doll from her childhood that she always keeps in a glass case and talks to regularly.
You see me. You always have, but I need a real friend.
May becomes embroiled in a love triangle between Adam, a rakish hipster played by Jeremy Sisto, and her flirtatious co-worker Polly, played by Anna Faris. When May turns out to be just a little bit too weird for Adam's liking, he rejects her. And after Polly turns out to be less monogamous than May expected, May goes on a murderous rampage, collecting her favorite body parts from the people who have disappointed her so that she can sew them together into her ideal companion. That's a fairly rough description of the plot, and it doesn't really do the film justice. What really makes it worth watching is Angela Bettis' knockout performance. She acts the out of this movie. It's a really varied role, and Bettis is alternately tragic, hilarious, sympathetic, scary. She's just really hypnotic to watch throughout the whole thing. Sisto and Faris are good too, though by no fault of her own, Anna Faris' femme fatale lesbian character is a bit over the top in how she's written.
We got the whole place to ourselves. Let's dance.
May is the best known of Lucky McKee's movies, and McKee is pretty interesting as far as horror directors go. Almost all of his work centers on women, often queer women, and often women who blur the line between vicious, inhuman monster and sympathetic heroine. I will say that this particular movie is maybe not the most sensitive portrayal of mental illness, or other disabilities for that matter, but that's a very common issue throughout the horror genre. If you're anything like me, this is the sort of cult film you started getting into after Donnie Darko got a little bit too popular. Both films have protagonists that I think it'd be fair to describe as anti-heroes, but where Donnie Darko is more of a cursory celebration of being weird and different and not being a part of your system, man, May is a bit more critical of modern counterculture and those who assume its mantle. When you think of a stock female character who's kind of weird and has unusual interests and makes her own clothes and talks to inanimate objects, you might immediately think of the phrase Manic Pixie Dream Girl. This is a term that's been misused a lot. It's not just a female character who's quirky and ostensibly charming in her weirdness. It's a quirky female character who exists in the story for no other reason than to inspire and motivate the male protagonist. Man, my life feels aimless and empty, but this girl who shares the same taste in music as me is the perfect excuse to stop taking my meds. Manic Pixie Dream Girls have pretty much always been a thing, but the phrase was coined in the 2000s, and I feel like they were especially in vogue throughout that decade. Elizabethtown and Garden State are among the most egregious examples. Some people point to Zooey Deschanel's character in 500 Days of Summer, but I see that movie as more of a deconstruction of the trope itself. It's a cautionary tale about only falling in love with the parts of someone that flatter your own ego. May came out before any of these movies, several years before Manic Pixie Dream Girl was a phrase that anyone even knew. But like 500 Days of Summer, I feel like it's a deconstruction of that entire concept. Only way, way darker and from the dream girl's point of view. Adam, and to a lesser degree Polly, are only attracted to May's weirdness so long as it's a charming, childlike weirdness that makes them feel better about themselves. They fetishize her weirdness, patronize her, infantilize her, all without ever really getting to know her. Adam in particular assumes the mantle of ironic weirdness in a very mannered, superficial way. But when he comes face to face with the reality of May's proclivities, he can't deal with it. May's apparent bisexuality never really plays a pivotal role in the plot. It's mostly incidental. Adam and Polly never even become aware of it, or of each other's existence. But just the same, I feel like, perhaps unintentionally, May's strained relationship with Adam and Polly kind of reflects the fetishization that bisexual people often experience from both straight and gay communities. Adam and Polly's flaw is a less bloody version of May's eventual attitude towards them. They idealize certain parts and discard the rest. The movie culminates with May murdering her various acquaintances and reconstructing them into a creature she names Amy. Amy is an amalgam of male and female body parts designed to be May's ideal companion. As a metaphor for bisexual or pansexual desire, it's a tad inelegant, but I think maybe that's sort of the point. Amy is this messy, monstrous, androgynous abomination, in direct contrast with Susie, the perfect porcelain representation of femininity encased in a glass prison. But they're kind of two sides of the same coin. Neither of them is a real person. They're both just products of May's inability to form a lasting connection with a real human being. We do see Amy apparently come to life at the end after May removes her own lazy eye and gives it to her, which, don't worry, I'm not going to show you, I'm not a monster. But even if this isn't all in her head and May has truly brought Amy to life through sheer force of will, it's not exactly a happy ending, because it's come at the cost of her freaking eye. May's quest for flawless perfection, both in herself and the people around her, ultimately proves self-destructive, both emotionally and physically. May's mantra is, if you can't find a friend, make one. She chooses to make one out of dead body parts, but I think that all of us are prone to a similar sort of artifice every now and then. Regardless of your sexuality, we all have certain idealized preconceptions of certain people that don't quite match up to the real thing. Or at least, that's what my stuffed animal friends tell me.